Oh boy, I sure do love going to Blockbuster after using my dial-up internet. Stainless set up a ton of little crumbs of story all throughout his video and Twitter, and like, holy fuck, did he set up a cool as hell way of telling the story. I'm gonna go through the crumbs, but first, just so y'all know what the fuck is going on, I'm gonna summarize the story right now. Okay, so like, it's about 1995, the world is basically like what ours is today, except Bosnia just doesn't exist for some reason, but then, out of nowhere, bzzz, whoa, what the fuck is this? Whoa, what's going on? It's a massive beam of light, there's radiation and death and explosions and tons of bad shit. In fact, shit's so bad that the world is now somehow split into like 4 parts for some reason. I don't fucking know what's going on, but I guess this is just how shit is now. This event is called the Shattering, by the way, and there's this Diego dude whose wife died in the Shattering. El Mayo massive rip bozo. He's so mad that he decides to take over the world, and his son Rico is like so down for that. So they team up and make the How Do Rotatinator, which is like a really vague super weapon thing that'll let Diego rule over the 4 regions of the world, I guess. But the thing is, it needs a dummy amount of power to work, and you know what? You know what? How do you think they generate this power? It's okay, I'll sit here and wait. How'd they do it? How'd they do it? Well, the obvious answer is that they make a pocket dimension simulation in which rotating images in MS Paint creates a ton of power in the real world, and then they bioengineer an entirely new species of human called Krogs, whose entire purpose is to go into these simulations and rotate images in MS Paint. And also, they shit themselves a ton as babies. That's weird. Anyways, they synthesize 37 different Krogs and throw them into the simulation. Somehow, they're so incompetent that the 34 first of them just die in this like curated dimension for some reason. That's weird. Anyway, the 37th Krogs is the Krogs in the How Do Rotate series. Remember that? That's what this is all about. So the 37th Krogs is extra quirky, I guess, and overflows the How Do Rotatinator with energy, which is where all the glitchy shit is from, I guess, causing the entire world to explode. Yeah, seriously. And yes, Rico decides to go into these simulations and, like, dies for real. You know, Diego's son, that motherfucker from the beginning, and the witch, that's apparently just another Krogs that, like, escaped or something. Also, Dream is a Krogs too, and Bosnia is a made-up country that is just specifically made for the simulation, which is otherwise a perfect copy of the real world, except the Shattering never happened. I guess this is fucking insane. I don't know how many drugs Stainless took coming up with this shit, but it must have been all of them, because holy fuck! So, Diego and Rico didn't do all this crazy shit alone. They made this weird organization called the New World Order, and this video, I think, is an intro shown to every new Krogs once they are, like, of age to go into the simulation or something.
Here, you can become part of something greater. You play a very important part in the balance of A4.
The balance of A4 thing is, I think, about how Diego is scared that other regions will take over A4, and so in order to keep the balance between the worlds, he tells the Krogses that they are just making A4 powerful enough to defend itself and not telling them about his taking over the world ambitions.
You are irreplaceable.
Irreplaceable. Irreplaceable. Irreplaceable.
So yeah, Krogses are very replaceable, actually.
Do you feel it? The winds of time are raging again. An era is coming to an end.
I mean, yeah, taking over the world would entail ending an era, I guess.
The comrades we've lost, the battles we've fought.
So this line about lost comrades implies that there has been conflict between the regions, and Diego is gonna put an end to it by taking over the entire world, I guess? Or maybe he's referring to the Krogses that died in the simulation, and also Rico. I don't know. This text is referring to Krogs 37, I think, which, just to remind you, is the Krogs that appears in the actual How Do Rotate series. And I guess she is the witch? I have a theory that the witch, who is also a Krogs, was using 37 to generate power, after which she would take credit for it. That's just a theory, though, because why else would she value Krogs 37's life, unless this text isn't referring to him at all, in which case I don't know what this means.
It's you and me now, 37. Your story ends here and now.
Yeah, I don't fucking know what this climactic shit is. If anything, I would guess this is between the witch and Krogs 37. But the witch never talks, so I don't fucking know. Because, like, basically everyone wants Krogs 37 to generate power, like he's been doing, except the witch, I guess. I don't know who else would want to stop Krogs within the context of this universe. Unless there's, like, some kind of operative within the New World Order who's, like, trying to stop them. I feel like that'd be a pretty major character to, like, only mention at all in this vague part. So, I don't know what this is. For her sake, I think this text is coming from Diego and he's talking about his wife here, since I guess he's doing this all for her.
I'm going to finish this once and for all.
It all comes down to 37, because I guess the Krogs printing machine just broke, I guess. I just want to say, this shit is done so well with the music and everything. Mwah! It is so epic. Memento Mori is a Latin phrase that basically acknowledges the fact that everyone is going to die eventually, including yourself. What significance does this have? I don't fucking know. Maybe it foreshadows the fact that the world ends at the end of this or something? I don't fucking know. So this shot actually has zero symbolic significance. Just a random shot. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
The henchman orders Krogs to teach him how to rotate Megamind. We learn something very important here. Not everyone can rotate images in MS Paint. The failure here proves that there's some kind of requirement to unleash the energy.
And this is why they made the Krog species, because not everyone can rotate images.
One quick note though, the noise at the end of this video is very loud, meaning a lot of energy has been released.
Oh yeah, also me blowing into my mic like a maniac at the end of videos is apparently energy being generated by MS Paint rotations in this universe. Stainless talked about in previous videos, but like, I love the fact that he digs into that detail.
With no regard for his own safety, Krogs rotates the subject and creates a level 4 rift alignment.
As far as I know, a level 4 rift alignment is just a fancy word for screen go wee-wah glitchy. Also, doing this creates a lot of energy, which contributes to Krogs 37 overflowing the innator by the end. Okay, this glitchy stuff is done really well.
I have the reports of specimens 35 and 36. 35 was a complete failure. She never even met the witch.
So I guess the witch is some kind of standard to reach for in the simulation, but the witch is later confirmed to be a Krogs. This implies that since she's a standard that each Krogs is going for, and it's a measurement of success, the New World Order has some kind of control over her, but I'm pretty sure that they don't. But I guess this does hint at her being in their control, which does make sense since she makes Krogs 37 do rotations.
36
I
couldn't
don't know.
handle the energy of the 180-degree rotation and died from his injuries. We still don't have enough energy for the mission. It all comes down to 37. I can't believe we have to place our trust in that criminal.
Yeah, so all the implied crimes that I get up to in How to Rotate happened in this simulation, and the people in the New World Order don't like Krogs 37, aka me, for that reason.
He has brain problems from fucking around with Bosnian magic? Honestly, what do you even expect at this point? I don't know what to tell you anymore. 37's health is hardly a concern at this point. We just had a level 4 RA. 4. Does your slip and slide brain even understand what that means? We need to stop. Abandon your world judgment plan. If this keeps up, all 4 universes will hit the rush limits and perish within each other. There won't even be a world left to rule.
So yeah, not even that close to the end, and I already get the innator overflowing. The tone on Almighty's voice here implies that there's still something that can be done to save the world, but what that is, I don't know.
With this unmatched power on his side, Krogs can finally defeat every foe who would stand in his way. We find out that only one with Bosnian blood can use the spellbook to its true potential.
Which doesn't make a ton of sense because Bosnia isn't real? Also, Krogs isn't real in this universe. He was made in a lab. I don't know how to interpret the Bosnian bloodline in this universe.
Build around the car, then get inside and rotate an image to make her spawn in for the energy.
But why does the energy attract her? I don't know.
5 is dead.
Here he says 5 is dead. At least I'm like 90% sure he does, which is the first hint you get that the witch is a Krogs. More specifically, Krogs number 5.
Irreplaceable.
He won! The son of a bitch did it! He killed 5!
I'm not sure who Stainless is supposed to be here. I'm not sure why anyone would be excited about the witch dying. Anyone other than Krogs 37, of course. The Morse code says mission complete, returning. So I guess Krogs is being pulled out of the simulation now. I don't know why that didn't happen earlier. I actually don't know why Dream shows up here, but he does.
After all this time, you finally did it. You tried so hard, and look how far you've come. Are you happy now? You're free. Free to live in a universe you helped destroy. I guess I'll tell you everything, seeing as how we're both about to die. Where did you think all that energy from the rotations went? We've been collecting it, planning on using it as an ultimate weapon to rule the 4 realms, but in order to do that, we needed a labor force, namely you. Krogs was the nickname given to your species. When one Krogs failed or died, another took its place. We even created this whole story involving a fictional country named Bosnia to make sure you never realized. We underestimated you and just how powerful Krogs could become. The weapon is overloaded and will self-destruct soon, taking A1, 2, 3, and 4 out. The Bosnian Witch's spellbook? Who do you think wrote that book? Everything will be destroyed. Me, you, Tony, Dewey, even this raccoon I've been possessing since September.
So I guess Diego decided to possess a raccoon? Sure, why not? Also, possession implies some magical shit's going on with Diego, which is probably how all the weird shit in this world was created in the first place, and I am going to get into that later.
Farewell, 37.
Okay, now for the Twitter stuff. This shit goes ridiculously deep. So we start out with this Google Doc linked in the video description. This seems to be an error report or something in the New World Order systems. It appears that someone is trying and failing to access the New World Order's files without permission. Who could this be? I don't know. The spelling mistake on the bottom also seems to show that the New World Order is a little incompetent and doesn't exactly have everything in order, which would explain them making a machine so poorly that it ends the universe. We'll be seeing a lot more of these error pages, and a little deceptively, the only relevant information here is the Twiddle? I'm keeping that in. Twitter handle here. It takes us to Steven from A4, from which the New World Order is working out of. Steven is a quirky dude who gets hired as an intern and then gets immediately fired for messing up horribly by losing the history files. He's just like me for real. He links you to the history folder and a new error file. Let's look at the history folder first. It contains 5 docs, all covering the bits of history and lore of the world. Stainless just kind of went off here, going into deep world building of the 4 regions of the world, A1 through A4, describing how each of the different regions and their different cultures work, now that about 30 years have passed from them all being connected in the same world. It's not really relevant to the overall story except for a few points which I'll go over, but I'm just going to read through what each region is like. If you want to skip that, just skip to the next chapter in the video. A1. The region of the north. Despite its cold climate, crops grow quite well here. In fact, there are some crops that only grow in the harsh winters of A1. People of this area are rather peaceful, preferring to pass their days singing songs or playing in the snow. With the smallest population of the 4 realms, there aren't many mouths to feed. They hope to sell some of their harvest or give it to those in need. The people of A1 have a unique relationship with their wildlife. Arctic wolves are common companions of these farmers. If domesticated properly, these usually vicious creatures are friendly and invaluable hunters. They like to play with the children and dart around in the snow. This frosty tribe is not only friendly and welcoming, but also curious about what the other 3 regions may be like. A2, the Eastern region. Boasting an overwhelmingly powerful military, A2 has begun preparing its defenses. They believe that the shattering was a coordinated attack and the world needs to be ready to counter. With such limited knowledge due to the radiation, anything is possible in their minds. It could have been a nuclear device, an alien attack, and maybe even the Rapture itself. No matter what's out there, A2 must be prepared for the worst. They are so busy there's hardly any free time. However, when the people of A2 have a quiet moment, they enjoy naps and preparing elaborate and fancy culinary masterpieces. When travel between regions is possible once again, A2 will simply observe. Unless they're working on something secret that suggests otherwise? A3 is the southern region. Known for their engineering accomplishments, A3 has no shortage of mechanical marvels. If you need something built, these people are the ones to ask. Beautiful and complex architecture line the streets of this region. Homes are built in mere hours, and their entire capital is constructed in less than a week. Naturally, their creativity carries over to other disciplines. The citizens of A3 enjoy writing stories and performing plays. Due to all their construction work, the people here are quite strong too. It's almost supernatural how easily they can lift whole steel beams. Should the radiation no longer become an issue, the people of A3 would be anxious, but eventually share their skills with the world. A4, the Western nation. On the surface, everything about A4 is average. However, the people are incredibly intelligent. One of the first matters A4 dealt with was a way to bioengineer food and water. They might not have the craftsmanship of A3 or the strength of A2, but never count A4 out until the very end. In preparation for any unwelcome visitors, they have created energy rifles and landmines. The people of A4 are studious, but they also know when to have fun. When there is time, A4 can become one big party. They once partied for 26 hours straight. The scientists often observe the sky for any changes to the shattering, or even a possibility of a second one. For now, A4 is willing to work together and restore order to the shattered world. There are rumors of a different plan, however, a much more judgmental plan. The important information we learn here is that there are some legitimate fears that other regions, specifically A2, which have a massive military and seem to be a little paranoid, might attack A4, which may have contributed to Diego doing this whole take over the world thing. The people in A4 are also described as especially intelligent. The fact that Stainless said that the people are intelligent and not just that they're really well educated or something tells me that there's something intrinsic about these people that makes them smarter, which contributes to my suspicions that there's some weird magical shit going on in A4. The last thing in the history file is a file describing the shattering, which I think would be pretty cool to read. That day, everything changed. Our world once whole shattered into four. Nobody knows what caused it or how to fix it. All we know is that a brilliant purple beam soared skyward, cracked the sky itself. Radiation followed, preventing any travel between the four regions. There was panic, fear, and paranoia on an impossible scale. Communication was possible, but very limited. Each region accused the other of causing this calamity. In the time where trust was so important, there was none. Human rules were essentially wiped out that day. There were no longer countries or governments. Just A1, A2, A3, and A4. Okay, and now for the Caretaker error. It takes us to a Twitter account of someone who's known as the Caretaker, who I guess must be the head caretaker of all 37 Krogses. The Twitter provides us with a Caretaker notes folder and another error file. Let's look at the Caretaker notes. We learn that Krogs is actually an acronym standing for Cyber Recreatable Organism. Grows at great speeds. Okay, I could make this shit up if I wanted to. We learn that Krogs can do anything a normal human can, but faster, and that Krogs reach adulthood in weeks. This confirms that it takes a long time for the New World Order to create new Krogs, since we learn later that the first Krogs were made in the 90s, and the 37th one was made in just 2021. We also learned that there are multiple caretakers for the Krogs working as employees as the New World Order through this cool instructional sheet that I will now read out to you. Dear valued caretaker, once again thank you for your time as the science team of the New World Order. We are very busy with our work. This means that we simply can't give the Krogs the time and care they deserve. That's where you come in, with your caring and supportive supervision. Each Krogs unit can do their best in the simulations. We know you're quite skilled with children, but the Krogs are a little, well, different. Attached is what you should do and don't do, I guess, with the Krogs. Do For young ones, diaper changes are a common occurrence. Remember to give each and every Krogs their daily medicine. Every Krogs is their favorite game to play. Try to remember them daily. Exercise is a must for all Krogs. Follow the activity sheet posted on the wall for exercises based on age. Bring their favorite snacks. Krogs are very fond of apple slices, so maybe bring some on certain visits. And snacks are also a good way to encourage good behaviors. Never get attached. These are soldiers, not human children. They were created by our order and they'll die for us too. Krogs should interact with each other as little as possible. In the simulation, they cannot have distractions. No matter what, do not let a Krogs go more than 24 hours without the green injection. I don't know what this is, but it's never mentioned again, so it's sciencey shit. This is really cool world building, but nothing super relevant is mentioned here other than the foreboding warning to not let different Krogs interact. The final document is all about Krogs 37, the one that appears in How to Rotate, and we will learn several interesting things here. After further affirmation that the New World Order looks down on 37 for being a criminal, we also learn of some weird event called the Purge, in which 35 and 36 die, leaving 37 surprisingly alive by the end of it. We also learned that the Purge allowed for some them to survive. No clue what this is referring to. Maybe the witch or dream, really don't know. Probably not important. We also learned that the caretaker, who's probably writing this, cares about Krogs at least a little bit and wants their cycle of death to end. Alright, now let's go through the Kitty era, which brings us to Twitter user Kitty AI, which is an AI that helps things run in the New World Order. To get further in this ARG, you have to message Kitty for information, and Kitty does not give you the information easily, but after some choice words were exchanged, I got the new pieces of the puzzle. Isabella error and some incident reports. Time to go over these spicy reports. So the reports are where some solid dates are set, which open up hella plot points. According to the timelines, Diego would have to be married by age 10 at least. He also has kids who would have had to have been born after Diego's wife died, who is implied to be their mother. Or are they plot holes? I intend to fix these plot holes with some time travel, and that magic should have been talked about being suspicious here and there, but I'll save that for the end. First, let's read these files. The incident reports confirm a list of things. First, A2 is specifically mentioned as a source of worry for A4. 5 Krogs already existed by 1999. Diego wrote the Witch's spellbook using rotation energy. The Witch is the 5th Krogs. The Witch killed Krogs 3 and 4. The Witch has some kind of vague, limitless power. Dream is the 14th Krogs. The Witch and Dream were both involved in some vague, weird magical rotation energy shit with the spellbook in 2002. The Witch's mask has some magical rotation properties, even though it's canonically just a toy mask. Dream was created to combat other Krogs, specifically the super powerful Krogs number 5 or the Witch, by sucking out their dreams in quotes, which essentially just destroys their will to fight. Dream and the Witch are equally powerful. Dream is sent into Krogs 37 simulation to get the Witch out of the simulation. And finally, Dream escaped the simulation after getting the mask and also has a baby alongside him. He's carrying it at the end. This baby is supposed to be the Witch, which was turned back into a baby with Krog 37 rotating her. I don't know. Lots of weird glitchy stuff happens at the end. Alright, let's do this shit again. The next Twitter is Isabella, who gives us the Diego heir and employment records. The employment records have information on all the characters we met so far, as well as mentioning soldiers in A4 known as shifters. They can shift between different worlds, whatever that means. But this confirms that A4 is very much preparing for a world takeover, as they go out of their way to mention that the other 3 regions of the world would fall to this army in a matter of months. With the specific characters though, we get some ages of these characters, which when combined with the incident reports confirms that there are indeed plot holes. Also, we learned that Rico dies because of Krogs 36 and 37. Kitty AI is a mysterious computer program that no one can seem to remove, no one even knows where it came from. Seems pretty important. Also, Isabella apparently helped create the first Krogs and the How to Rotate-inator, despite being only 3 at the time. Okay, yeah, I'm fixing this with some time travel shenanigans too. Okay, now for the Diego era, which brings us to Diego's Twitter profile, where you need to DM him a password to get the last doc. this password part of the ARG was so hard because like the Diego era itself was this weird string of letters which I thought you had to do something with for the password, and I spent like half an hour on that until Stainless told me that everything you need for the password is just on the Twitter page and nowhere else, which is weird, but after you know that, it's not that bad. And then there are some more attempts. I guess the password was the birthday of Diego's favorite son, Rico, which ended up being the right one, whose date is mentioned in one of his tweets, which I think this is a really cool puzzle. You know, it's relevant to the characters, it's something that somebody's password would be. I think it's really cool. I just think it should have been clear that all the information you needed for the password was on the Twitter page itself. Anyways, enough complaining. As the reward for getting this password, you get one last thing. It's a letter from Diego, who is dead at the end of all this for some reason, I guess. Just giving a final monologue saying he's sorry for doing all the big bad stuff, putting a cap on the Stainless How Do Rotate lore. But that ain't it! Nope, there's some fucking plot holes and loose threads that we gotta tie up. Come on! The How Do Rotator is about to blow up the universe. Krog's 37 is chilling there, and Diego is fucking dead for some reason. Then 14, who is Dream by the way, shows up at the very end, just as the universe is about to end from the overflowing power of the How Do Rotator. He tells 37 that with the power of the Inator, his mask, Five's mask, and the book, he'll be able to create another shattering. It'll suck, but the redirected power will be able to save the universe. This overwhelming amount of energy sends 14 back in time. He is back in about like 1990. He still has the powerful mask from 5, and he looks up Diego in the phone book, and he finds him and Maria, his wife, newly married because it's 1990, living together. He's shocked to realize that Diego seems to be at a very similar age to that which he was back in 2022. He asks his age. It's 29. Weird. 5 years younger than 2022. Isn't that impossible? Because in 2022 he's 34. Weird, but whatever. He befriends Diego and Maria and doesn't tell them about the future. 14 is able to get into a computer program career from the ground up since he's smart, which is verified by him learning to use Morse code all by himself without anyone teaching him, because like the people working at the New World Order are shocked at him being able to learn that on his own. Anyway, he's able to use his knowledge about Kitty AI to revolutionize the field, and he recreates her over a few years and becomes a very successful, world-renowned computer scientist. And now it's 1995. The fame is starting to die down a little bit. 14 craves the fame again, and so he gets out Five's mask, right? Which he has never really used till now because of its chaotic nature. He tries using the mask to improve the Kitty AI, but nothing worked because the Kitty AI is fucking nuts and nothing makes sense. He tried using the mask for several other things. He used it to magically make himself stronger, smarter, more attractive, invincible even, and that he could never age. This caused a lot of commotion from his house. So Diego comes by to check up on him, and he's like, 14, what the fuck's going on here? 14 tells Diego what he's doing. Diego asks for some of the power too, and 14's like, fuck it, sure, and gives Diego some of the same power, including the power to never age, but ensures that he's still a little weaker so that he would be able to overpower him if, that ever needed to happen for whatever reason. Anyways, Diego asks about the mask. 14 never reveals where it came from, okay? And Diego is naturally very curious about it. While 14 is sleeping, Diego comes in and steals the mask, worrying that this much power in one person's hands is bad, and Diego runs away with it, along with Maria next to him. Then 14 wakes up realizing that mask is gone, and hunts them down. He chases them, and they have a final epic climactic confrontation. Diego gives the mask to Maria and tries to fight 14. He's getting beat the fuck up and realizes that it's all futile because he's weaker. He desperately tries to hold off 14 as he tells Maria to try and unleash the power of the mask to destroy 14. She shakes it, she's squeezing it, and she tries to do something, anything. She's crying and scared and begging for the mask to do something she shouldn't have pissing. Then, all of a sudden, she starts to awaken something within the mask. She begins to glow a bright purple. She's letting off a lot of heat and radiation. Then from her body, a massive beam of purple light shoots up into the sky. The sky fractures. It's the shattering, baby. 14 is looking at this in horror. He's like, oh my fucking god, I caused the shattering with some fucking time travel shenanigans. Diego takes the chance to push 14 into Maria, and he instantly vaporizes 14. 14's fucking dead. Diego realizes that he's stuck in the A4 part of the world, and he's a wreck for the first few months. Okay, this guy's out here for months at this point. His wife is gone because of the strange mask he doesn't understand yet, and it's all caused this weird shit to go on. He should have never taken that mask. He beats himself up over it. He tries to destroy the mask but can't. After that, he decides to go on a fishing ship, and out in the middle of the sea in A4, ties the mask to a heavy rock and throws it into the middle of the ocean. Get the fuck out of here with the mask. And Diego starts to dedicate his time to helping people affected by the shattering. To his shock and horror, though, there are so many criminals and warlords and soldiers and shit out there trying to take advantage of this hectic situation to gain an iron grip on power. The world becomes cold and ruthless. Helping people become incredibly hard and dangerous and shit. Some of the people he tries to help get killed by a gang, and that's it. You know, he's like, fuck it. Fuck it, this is where his soldier phase begins, and he's still powered up from the mask that 14 gave him, and he can overpower fucking everybody. Diego becomes a shifter, which it mentions it in the lore. Then he tries to fight the gang and ends up overthrowing it by killing their head guy or whatever. He becomes a warlord himself, embracing these new ruthless times to establish order in the chaos. He consolidates power. He begins judging the fuck out of everybody and begins to feel comfortable in being the stable ruler of A4. He hears that other regions may be looking to attack A4 like A2. He forces his subjects to begin rapidly developing new technology to fight them. One of his subjects decides to bring back Kitty AI, to his dismay. He tries getting rid of her, but can't because 14 programmed it too well thanks to the mask-boosted intelligence and shit. And that's where all the mysterious Kitty AI shit comes from. Anyways, Diego hears stories about how fierce the other regions are, and notices A4's technological advancement is kind of slow, so he decides to go get the mask somehow. He sets the entire population on finding it on the ocean floor somewhere. After weeks, he finds it. Using the powers of the mask and a smart girl who helps him, Isabella, he creates the How-Do-Rotate-Inator, which he needs a power source for. The mask goes all quirky and generates a simulation world where he can extract power from after he uses it. After lots of experimentation, his team finds out immense power can come from it by rotating images in MS Paint specifically, a very difficult task, apparently, and Diego's team, including Isabella, over years perfect a way to extract energy from the simulation world by genetically engineering a new species he calls Krogs. With A4's new technology, he begins a program, the New World Order, an initiative to get his machines powered up so that it can finally unite the regions into one world with him at the helm. Making Krogs takes a long-ass time, which is confirmed in the docs. So Diego uses the power of the mask to make everybody in A4 magically smarter, which is mentioned in the docs, that everybody there is smarter. He also tries to reward his most faithful scientist, Isabella, with powers like his own, but accidentally travels her to the future, to 2019, which is why she is the age she is, and that solves all the plot hole age shit. Anyways, she won't have aged overall at that time period. Plot hole, it's all good. Anyways, content with his contributions, Diego gives up his position to others to do work for him while he relaxes and retires as the king of A4. The staff, however, working at the New World Order, don't really understand the mask's power and give it to 5 as a toy, thus making her super powerful, thus making it so that the New World Order needs to make 14 to stop her, making it so that the events of How to Rotate happen, causing 14 to go back in time, and the time loop continues forever and ever. The New World Order also kind of becomes a little incompetent with Isabella and Diego not taking a super active role despite the increased intelligence. Diego increasingly enjoys the splendors of his kingship. This culminates in 2001 when he decides he'll need some heirs to share his power with. He finds the hottest hookers in the land and fucks them while doing crack in a 7-Eleven at 3 a.m. That's canon in my lore. Rico and Alvaro are born from this 7-Eleven crack trip. And that is the true lore of Stainless's interpretation of the How to Rotate universe. But hey, that's just a theory. Thanks for watching.